All right. Good morning, YouTube. We might be on the struggle bus this morning, but hopefully you're having a good day. Some technical difficulties here, so your your perspective may look a little different today. I'm trying to figure out how to work this issues. But hope you're having a good start to your weekend. Hope everybody's doing good. Thanks for checking in. If we can see who, that would be good. Let me get over here. But lots of weather going on across the country, along with all the other news. Yesterday was an extremely busy day, it looked like. But hopefully we can relax this weekend. We're still got some outlook for showers and stuff, but it's starting to calm down. I don't think we had any hailstorms yesterday. But the news was quite active yesterday. Just like this screen, you got tons of snow. Oh, I wish it was snowing. But we do have snow up in Montana and Idaho, it looks like. So there's a little bit, but tons of pretty bad storm activity here. You get the red and the yellow show up. You always think there's tornadoes potentially. So y'all be safe out there. And I haven't heard any flooding potential. They talked about East Coast for the week, but it is raining out there. So some of you might be getting a little bit of that. Weekend for a lot of people. So plan your outdoor activities accordingly. Put your rain slicker on. Hey, what's going on out there? We got Walter Davis with us. Good morning. You're right, stuck right in the middle of that green mess out there. Stan Oates is with us. We had barbecue plans. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, you're getting heavy rain, as Walter describes it. A gun repair weekend. Well, that's a good thing, right? Jet 001. Good morning. Yeah, you're having a similar situation as me. But we should have some decently clear skies. You know, we're going to have clouds, but I think we're going to get the amount of rain and storms to slow down a little bit. So we'll be able to get through the day and then get some showers at some point. So that's that outlook on the weather side. Obviously, there was a ton of activity yesterday. We had the high school shooting in Texas. There was a shooting at a high school in Georgia. The plane crash in Cuba. Over 100 people, I think, were killed at the last report I saw. And of course, you still got the volcano in Hawaii still going strong. So on the death and destruction front, it's almost apocalyptic in some respects. We'll try not to talk about the tyrant wedding. that Drudge felt the need to give front page to. But a couple things popped up just for commentary purposes that I pulled up. Yeah, that more than a airliner crash. Last report over here. Encouraging sign of that which most of us have been fighting for a very long time. This is out of the Hill, a roll call, rollcall.com, talking about politics. Steady full of political royalty, they call it. Blood to Congress. So all the issues of like the Kennedys and stuff still persist. Here is a fellow named Greg Pence, who looks strangely like the vice president because it's his younger brother. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, his brother, the vice president, is younger. He's the older brother of the vice president running for Congress as an example of perceived royalty within American politics. It seems to go on in lots of places where you have the family hand-me-down, especially father to son type stuff, either in Congress or the Senate. People always being foolish and voting for a similar family name. There's in Nevada a couple big names that roll around. Laxalt is running for governor. That's a long-standing political family here. So the issue here, the point of this article, electorate remains as fascinated as ever with influential families on both. Because talking about the British, their wedding today, etc. And perhaps as a result has only occasionally declined to expand the power of the clans that have sought to political royal lineage over the past 2 centuries. Adams, Harrison, Taft, Roosevelt, Rockefeller, and more recently Kennedy or Bush have won far more than they have lost. Yeah, because people are stupid. The long roster of such things that have succeeded in national politics for multiple generations hasn't grown in a while, but the number who have made electioneering part of bloodlines, if only for a generation or two, continues to expand. Half a dozen close kin, current or former members of Congress, are hoping to join the Hill themselves in January. So that's our current dilemma. Voting for the same people and expecting a different result. Like, predecessor family member couldn't solve the problem, so they must be able to, right? If we just vote one more Kennedy in, we'll be fine. The names here in different places. Some of the smaller, less known people. Duncan Hunter out of San Diego. Replaced, I guess, his dad for him. Another one out of Philadelphia is replacing his brother. So yeah, there's lots of small time. Then he talks about the Pence example up above. So just a little check in on the dynastic royalty of American politics, that it's not just a money thing in some respects. You still have the Rockefellers and the Kennedys, etc., Bushes, than everybody else. Here's a short list. Son of, brother of, son of, wife of, daughter of. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a lot longer list. That's for sure than you would think. So that's your American royalty update, I guess. Who knew? I figured it'd be a decent list. It does seem to run in families for a period of time. Hey, good morning, M. Long. How's it going? Right, Stan? Yeah, that's probably a good call. Watch the grass grow. All right, Walter. Yeah, I mean, local politics aside, you can get good people that you want to vote for multiple times, but it seems to not always be that way. What you would call good people. See them, yeah. If you can see your politician at the gun club on the weekend, that's a good connection to have. Uh, in Nevada, we have pretty close connections to most state representatives and below. The federal positions get a little further out of reach, but still, you can run across them pretty randomly. They don't. You can be on the same. I've been on the same flight on a Southwest flight with the governor and the lieutenant governor and the attorney general, and they all fly Southwest like everybody else when they're on state business. I don't know what to do in their private time. Ace Jet asks, "What do you think of these candidates running for governor of Nevada?" Um, I'm putting Bundy on my list to vote for. Uh, that's just where I'm at. I think Laxalt is Sandoval's handpicked successor, but they're throwing a straight up communist to run against him. So, well, I guess I should say if the Democrats get Sisolak through the primary, Sisolak's the biggest one name with the biggest amount of money. Um, so if they throw him out there, I mean, Laxalt seems to be the name of choice. Obviously, it's a family dynasty name. That's the one I was talking about. So that's definitely right up that vein of that article. Um, the only thing, I mean, nobody ever agrees with anybody 100%. I think Bundy's a little misguided on his run to the border issue support. Yeah, Walter, if Ryan Bundy won governor of Nevada, it wouldn't be a shakeup. It would be an implosion. That would be like a small tactical nuke going off in Carson City. I think that would shake everybody up nationwide. That would be like you got a guy off the domestic terrorism watch list as governor. That would be like that would shock everybody. It would be. You think the FBI invaded the Trump campaign? They're already knee deep. They've been knee deep in his campaign for years. And imagine what they would do in Carson City. It could get. It would be very interesting to see how far they'd be willing to go on that. I don't think enough people pay attention. They just vote for the R and the D and move on. Is our biggest problem. So next up, a Zero Hedge article here. Talking about the American populists. And everybody always talks about this like this division of wealth is easily solved or whatever. Um, it's not. It's easy to get all the wealth to the top when they're getting all the bailouts, but it says, as its title is here, top 1% of Americans are 70% wealthier than the bottom 90%. So at some point, numbers just mean numbers, but let's see how they go down this article. So it's based on a Federal Reserve triennial survey of consumer finances. It collects information about family incomes, net worth, balance sheets, credit use, yada yada, financial outcomes. Reading between the lines reveals that the net worth and income did increase in the past 3 years. It was exclusively for the top 10%. The bottom 90% got virtually nothing of this so-called recovery. It's because the bailouts all went to the top 1%. All the money of the Federal Reserve, Operation Twist, QE, QE 1 through 4, all that went to the banking sector. It had nowhere else to go, and they hid it for the longest time. So I don't think it should be any surprise to anybody that this is what's happened the last 6, 7 years. So here's a summary. Between 2013 and 2016, median family income grew 10%, and mean family income grew 14%. Median versus mean. So if you understand statistics, I can't never get my head wrapped around which is which. I think median is the absolute numerical center if you're looking at a scale, but median is actual percentages broken down, something like that. I'd have to look it up. Families throughout the income distribution experienced gains in average real incomes between 2013 and 16, reversing the trend from 2010 to 2013 when real incomes fail or remain stagnant for all but the top of the income distribution. Families without a high school diploma and non-white and Hispanic families experienced larger proportional gains in incomes than other families between 2013 and 16, although more educated families and white non-Hispanic families continue to have their higher incomes of other families. Okay, whatever. The next bullet is the troubling admission. Okay. Families at the top of the income distribution saw larger gains in income between 2013 and 16 than the families consistent with widening income inequality. I guess it wouldn't be inequality if it was based upon effort and work. If you just got paid based upon your work effort, be no big deal. Everybody be happy. So there's a lot of technical language and stuff that I don't want to read through and bore everybody with. But it is in your description box. Uh-oh. Don't reload. I think I clicked when I should have zagged. Yeah, there we go. There's some graphs down toward the bottom. The wealth share of the top 1% climbed from 36.3% to 38.6%. So, yeah, people on the left whine and cry about stuff like this, and they think the government is going to solve it. It's like, no, the government's the reason this exists in the first place, you fools. So just some perspective to put out at people and some numbers in there as well. Hey, caregiver, good morning. How you doing? You look like you're a little wet out your way as well. Welfare in those years, Walter Davis? Well, I guess it was because they were collecting more taxes, right? They've been collecting record taxes like for every year for the last 6 or 7 years. You can do it. Good morning. You're definitely in the middle of all that rain. You're not flooding, are you? Looks like the whole middle Atlantic is a big green blob. Yeah, rain all weekend, exactly. You and Walter Davis can hang out and do gun training or gun maintenance, as he described it. So similar article next door to that on the Zero Hedge. In which states was the U.S. middle class crushed the most? Again, based upon the Federal Reserve bailing out banks, equity holders in capital markets in the aftermath of coordinated multi-trillion liquidity injection by the world's central banks that made the richer richer. Yeah, kind of like what we were just talking about. But this breaks out the status of individual states, winners and losers in this, based upon easy to follow graph. So it's easy for us folks. Just look at the picture. More red had more shrinking in middle income households as a proportion of population, or as they call increase in downward hollowing out index, 2000 to 2016. The red are high states of high instances of that, and the lower the low. I guess this is an IMF measure. A study by the IMF, polarization in the United States. Middle income households have shrunk as a proportion of the population since the study found between 50 and 150% of the median income represented as 48% of the total households in 2016, compared to 58% in 1968. The middle class has shrunk, in other words. So there's a chart. See what other key stat they come up with out of this. The states shown below in deep red are where income polarization and the hollowing out of the middle class was most severe. Logically, the lighter the shading, the less the adverse impact of downward hollowing out. And it's interesting, it's spread out across the different types of states. Because like you got Pennsylvania, Michigan, Illinois, even Massachusetts, what you would consider slightly to the left, are not as polarized or didn't destroy the middle incomes as much as at the low end of that scale, along with Texas and Florida and Montana, for example. But in the deep red is also sporadic. It's just kind of spread out. Probably a large variety of factors probably play into that. No doubt. Part of that is the recession from 2008. Because in Nevada, we actually had severe population shrinkage. Oh, here it is. IMF noted the following. Take Nevada and Arkansas, for example, two states that had the greatest increase in polarization during 2000 to 2016. In these states, education played only a small countervailing role as technology and international trade lowered living standards for some middle-income households. Technology and international trade lowered living standards? I don't understand it. How they can come to that summation. On the other extreme, for example, Massachusetts and New Mexico, technology and international competition have had less impact on income polarization in these two states than Nevada and Arkansas. Meanwhile, education has done more to keep households in the middle class, making Massachusetts and New Mexico among states that have experienced the smallest increases in polarization. Education doesn't mean anything if you don't do the work to learn a living. I don't know if that's necessarily a true statement. Just because you say it doesn't make it true. Biggest problem with Nevada for a large period of that time was people just losing jobs because people stopped coming to Nevada because they didn't have money to spend in gambling, etc. When the housing boom stopped, everybody left. All those good labor jobs, building houses and stuff left. Don't know that their summations are exactly correct. They're focusing on technology and international trade competition. But the competes with in international trade is the price of gold. So it's an interesting article. Again, in your description box, if you would like to check it out or not. It's up to you. Let's again see where your state shakes out. What we got going in the side chat before I move on here? You can do it. You're going to clean the garage. That's a strong move there. I need to do a little bit of that looking around. we got things going in the door and out the door. So that's part of the problem. Restock an old shotgun. That's a good play, Walter. Yeah. M. Long wanted to make your cabin to shoot, but too wet, won't be able to get back out even with 4x4. Okay. So yeah, you're not going out then with that, huh? You guys are talking about your own stuff. You're not focusing on the topics at all. Oh, you live in that area, Walter, where the coward Kessler lives, huh? Wow. I remember that. It's like, who didn't see those videos for what they were? It was like, this guy's over the top. I wouldn't have anything to do with him. It's like, he's worse than Tactical Tony. Why would I go hang out with this guy? That sucks that you had that going on. Coward Chief Kessler. Yeah. I did a video on that. On the reverse side of that, the degrading of the middle class is an article in Zero Hedge, most prosperous cities in the U.S. And this is based upon recent ranking by Rent Cafe. And the lead line is wealthy coastal enclaves no longer have a monopoly on prosperity, according to this recent ranking by Rent Cafe. So I guess they're analyzing 303 cities according to changes in overall prosperity. Again, how do you determine overall prosperity? I mean, that's such a subjective term. Like, we feel prosperous, but people would look like you're not prosperous unless you have X, Y, and Z, right? It's all perspective. Rent Cafe examines a mix of factors with a final prosperity score was based on the combined value of 6 individual fields. Texas cities occupied 6 of the top 20, disrupting the long-standing East Coast-West Coast rivalry. Yep, Texas is going to secede soon. Better move there while you can. Midland Odessa area was one of the main employment hubs in the Permian Basin with some of the lowest unemployment rates in the country, and it's popped up on the. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, okay, I guess they're prosperous because they got good old jobs and lots of them. But dang, I wouldn't want to live in Midland out there in the middle of the plains. So I guess this graph, let's see if this picture pops up here. If we can get a good view of the cities they picked. They're all to the south except to Seattle, it looks like. So it's all on the coastline or in the south where this supposed prosperity exists. Oh, there you go. Top 20 most prosperous cities in the U.S. Odessa, Texas is number 1. Washington, D.C., number 2. I mean, political money. What else can you say? I guess that's all your lobbying agencies fund that to the hilt, and the banks. Charleston, South Carolina, North Charleston, Fontana, California, Pearl in Texas, Brownsville, Texas, Midland, Texas, Miami, Florida is 8. Where's Angel at? I saw Angel in Tony's chat last night. He'd been off the radar. Or if he's going to join us this morning, he can fill us in on the Miami Prosperity Index. So I don't think most of the people in the chat don't live in these areas. So I guess we're not prosperous. Wes S is out there in somewhere in Central Texas. He's a short drive away, I guess you'd say. Hey, good morning, Alicia. Thanks for joining us. You just missed our graph of states where the middle class is disappearing. Cities with positive change in all prosperity indicators. More surprising is the number of cities that experience growth across all 6 categories used to calculate prosperity. It's a similar list. LA may be prosperous, but I ain't moving there. Same with Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah. Billings, Montana, though, is holding its own. Billings might be a decent place. What say, where's 01 Crom at? I wonder how far he lives from Billings. So maybe you can choose where you choose to live next based upon that article at your own peril. Yeah, Alicia, us in Utah, we've both been losing our middle class at the cyclic rate according to this article we did just a minute ago. Yeah, Walter, you probably experienced something similar to what we had out here when the Federal Bureau of Intimidation came around after Malheur. They were knee deep in several of the towns around here. It was amazing. We started looking at. There's a huge connection between northern Nevada and Idaho, 3%, and the Bundys and everything else. And it's not just family connections. They were everywhere. All right, that's pretty much what I had for the morning, folks. Anybody got anything else they want to throw out there other than the shooting, the tyrants, and that plane crash in Cuba was quite an event. I think these are the only things that bumped off the top line of the headlines. But make sure you're following those bond rates, the yield curve as they describe it. continues to go almost flat, and they keep talking about how that's going to affect investment in the long run. Yeah, the 10-year was at 3.06. It was up above 3.11 yesterday. Yeah, the 10-year Treasury was at highest level since 2001 or 2011. I'm sorry. And let's see if they pull up the yield curve. They usually have it on that next screen. Yeah, no one. Yeah, Walter. Any federal agency doesn't care about state laws. They pretty much break them every day anyway. They're just trying to come in and find ways to frame people to make themselves look good. Hey, you can do it. Have a good day. You sure it's not on my end? My end acts up more than your guys, but I'm showing that I'm doing decently. And Long says the next dollar crisis will come out of Europe, per Martin Armstrong, economist. Well, I guess you'd say it's already started. I mean, we've seen what happened all along between Greece and Spain, and he's defaulting, having huge economic issues. You got to figure it's coming. The EU was talking just the other day about oil not denominated in dollars just to get around the sanctions imposed by Trump. That's going to have a huge effect if they kick that in. I mean, that's a lot of dollars. It's a lot of bond buying that won't happen. If you know what I'm saying. So if we can get the graph out here. Well, this graph doesn't seem to want to pull up. What the issue is here. I'll blame it on CNBC. Walter, you think we're in for some real inflation soon? Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Just as we start getting our feet under us and inflation kicks back in. Yeah, this graph isn't pulling up. And starting with gas, and contagion will spread to the U.S. Yeah, it's really about how everybody else uses the dollar and how that's going to just trickle over. Because especially if everybody bails out and all those dollars that are hiding out overseas get dumped back in because of the cheap value, it causes massive inflation. There's different scenarios, but none of them end well. Right, Alicia. Inflation harms those with fixed and little incomes most. Right. Um, those with the least amount of disposable income pay the price. Especially inflation affects people who can't save at a rate to outpace inflation. Most people don't have the ability to save or invest at a rate that beats inflation unless you're a day trader or have massive investments that exceed your yearly income level. You're not going to beat inflation usually. I don't know, Walter. I don't know that those are necessarily in a circular relationship because I know around here real estate goes up before pay goes up in a lot of cases, in most cases. Um, the real estate's been going up here like a skyrocket. People's wages are not matching that growth in real estate because real estate's probably up 50% in the last 2 years, 3 years around here. I don't think you can't buy a house in Reno right now. Not if you're like, I talk about the middle class. Like, you have to have both people working. You got to be making 250 plus a year to live in Reno. It seems like nowadays, based on some of those real estate prices. A lot of that's people from California selling in the millions and coming over here and paying cash for stuff. I guess it just depends on where you're at. Some of those effects of that. What else is going on out there in the world of the side chat? Oh, I'd forgotten about the gunman at the Trump Hotel. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, that's a whole sideshow, bizarre story as well. Zero Hedge isn't playing nice today. Alicia. Well, what happens when you have builders overbuild is what happened in '08, Alicia, at least in Vegas and up here in Reno. There were empty houses for miles there for a while. It would take a while to overbuild. I know they were talking about it on the radio the other day about the like there's like they talk about housing inventory, about how much housing is up for sale in the market. I believe we're down to like a 40-day inventory. So basically, all the houses that are currently available will be sold in 40 days, and whatever's being built, and that number is getting smaller and smaller because they can't build them fast enough. Part of it's a shortage of labor and supplies as well. The the To put it in a little bit of perspective, the university's been trying to build new buildings, uh, but it can't get the contractor. I mean, they have because the university works off a very fixed, state agency, so works off a very fixed income type of price. You're talking millions of dollars they have available for contracting, and they can't get a contractor to come in and do it at that price because the contractors are so busy doing other things. That's kind of the state of things around here. It's pretty crazy. Oh, Walter, you heard about that gunman, but not which Trump resort it was? Yeah. It was in Miami, so you were clear. That's just a bizarre, bizarre story. Oh, this might be something that pops up, might be interesting. Is Russia about to abandon the OPEC deal? I'm running low on time here, but if Zero Hedge cooperates, we'll click through and at least pop it up for you. We'll put it in the description box. It might be something worth investigating. Stuff like that, major shifts in policy can have big effects on everybody. Oh, M Long, you got a house for rent and you're afraid to rent it out to losers? Yeah, you don't want to see your investment get destroyed, right? That's the tough part about renting out and stuff. It's like being not having to dump more money into it than you need to. Just having some decent normal people would be nice, right? Right now, you can rent out. I mean, the rent prices here are skyrocketing because of the shortage. It's not hard to rent out around here. You'd probably get a pretty decent family to rent to. So there's something about OPEC and Russia are meeting in a little more than a month to discuss the progress of their oil production deal and what's next. Every country part of the deal is committed to the cuts until the end of the year. But Russia pumped more than its quota in both March and April. An energy minister of Russia hinted Russia might like to see a gradual easing of the cuts following the June meeting. But Iran sanctions will remove a certain amount of Iranian crude from the international markets, making space for more from other producers. Okay. So it's all about the oil situation. So something to look at, something to look into. We'll get it in the description box here as we wrap it up. All right, have fun at karate, Alicia. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Whoa, whoa. 22,000 damage on your rental the last time you rented it out, Imlong? That's insane. Did you send him to prison? I mean, ah, I guess they probably just walked out on it, huh? That would suck, Imlong, no doubt. 22,000 in damage. Yeah, if you couldn't put him in prison, you're probably never getting that money back. Wow, man, that would be painful. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up with this, folks. Go out, enjoy your wet, soggy day. If you're everywhere east of Denver, it looks like we're gonna be getting showers out this way as well, so we won't be unscathed. But it's supposed to be relatively dry out this way. So y'all go have a good weekend. Look forward to seeing you around the interwebs, YouTube, whatever. And we'll talk to you Monday. All right. Have a good one. Live free.